Championship here from Renton, Washington. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Randy Buehler, and we are underway in the quarterfinals. We've got Chaz Hinkle. He is kind of trying to go baseline to baseline in this tournament here. He was the first seed coming from yesterday, and he
was the last undefeated player.
Last undefeated player. Also came in as the #1 seed here into the top 8, playing Abzan Aggro. He's playing against Luis Salvatto, and Luis actually was our 8th seed. He was the 8th player to make it in the top 8. He beat Philip Sand from Sweden on breakers. Luis comes from Argentina, and he's also playing an aggressive deck, but his is a little different, red-white aggro. Well, nearly ideal starts from both players. 2-drop, 2-drop, but hello on offense of the foremost, which is, of course, going to trigger that Heir of the Wilds on attack as well and allow the Heir to just run right past Seeker of the Way. On top of that, on offense, it does a pretty nice job of getting in the way of a Seeker. Now, I see that Luis has Stoke the Flames.
Yes, he's stoked. Does he have Hordling?
Does he just fire it off here? Hordling would be nice.
Right, Hordling into Stoke is all you want.
He does have it.
There you go.
So now you get to develop your board and remove Unoffensa.
Yeah, the Convoke on Stoke the Flames becomes just
you just do it here.
So powerful, rather than let him untap.
Yeah, like, you know, a card like Abzan Charm comes to mind.
Yeah.
Chaz Hinkle immediately sensing that this is what was afoot. This does mean he gets to attack again with the Heir. And this is interesting, you know, if Chaz has another copy of Unoffensa, he's perfectly happy to trade that off. I think he does, though.
I see a Death Dealer.
Is he a Death Dealer and maybe a Bile-Blight? He's got an Urborg in play here as well, which, if that is a Bile-Blight, although does the aggro version run Bile-Blight? Does he have it?
2.
He's got 2 of them. All right, looks like he's got 1 of them in his hand. So he's going to attack with Heir of the Wilds to kick things off. So that's 2 more damage, dropping Luis down to 14. He's going to play the Rakshasa Death Dealer, and he's just going to pass the turn back.
Cleverly leaving the plains untapped, telegraphing, I cannot activate these abilities.
Yeah, can't do it, not at all.
Do not look at the Urborg that is tapped and underneath my forest. Totally the right play, though, right?
I like it.
Some people will miss it and think you can't activate.
I also like waiting here. There's fewer ways for him to get blown out, and I think
he's even got the mechanics of, like, the Urborg is under the forest, but the plains is on top of the citadel.
He does.
It's just like, there's so many little details that can matter in a Magic game.
We'll see if Luis Salvato is, how much he's paying attention here. Even if he figures that Chaz has access to Bile-Blight, gotta wonder how much it actually changes his line. Now, is Luis running, you know, God's Willing and that type of card in his list? There were some of the...
He's got a couple of Valorous Stance.
Valorous Stance,
the new Fate Reforged trick. So it is both a removal spell and also a Save My Creature spell. But no, he's not really... none of the heroic type cards.
Okay. All right, he is going to play Brimaz, King of Oreskos, and did I see him just pass?
I mean, he doesn't have a good attack with the Death Dealer sitting there.
Yep, he passed, and he's going to target a Goblin now that he's tapped out. And that would take down the other Goblins as well. So
is this response second Stoke?
Yeah, well, the interesting part is that just by Luis completely pausing here, that is
telegraphed the fact that he has a Stoke in his hand.
It's going to set this
off.
Yeah,
he either has Stoke or wants Chaz to think he has Stoke.
Right.
It's basically the only thing he can possibly respond with.
All right, so he does have Stoke. Though, any reasoning on why to leave back the Seeker there?
Rather than the Heir?
He would rather trade.
Oh, well, if he's not going to block with Brimaz because the Heir has Death Touch.
Right.
So he would block with Seeker.
He would block with Seeker, okay. If he was going to block at all, which he might not.
Exactly. I mean, I think he knows, the Chaz knows, he's never blocking with Brimaz in that spot.
Sure.
It's interesting. Even that Bile-Blight, Chaz, in theory, could have regenerated Death Dealer from Stoke if he hadn't tapped the mana, but there's no way he was going to be able to leave regeneration mana up all the time. Yeah, okay. Chaz goes ahead and attacks. Luis does want that trade.
And here comes
Sorin.
Not too bad, but not really great here, yeah.
I mean, the bat basically has to chump Brimaz, right? Or
the
Sorin
vampire,
just dies.
yeah. That's correct.
And there's a Rabble Master.
Yeah, Rabble Master doesn't have haste.
No.
And here comes the
Now what do you
tokens
do?
just spewing out
Are
here.
you eating a token and losing your Soren? Or are you chumping Brimaz to keep Soren around?
Either way, it doesn't seem great for Chaz Hinkle here.
Yeah, all right. Soren was a 4-mana 2/2
So
flyer.
he blocked the 1/1 Vigilance,
Oh, he blocked the Brimaz token.
the
rather than
Brimaz
the
token.
Goblin, sure.
That's correct.
Is this raid to trigger a Wingmate Rock?
That would be nice, though. This would have to come off the top of his deck. He didn't have any cards left. It's an on-offensive foremost. Well, that's an interesting attack from Hinkle there, attacking for 2. Now, he does have Salvato down to 12 here, but he is going to be facing down a thumping here.
Yeah, seriously, wouldn't you want to trade your Vampire for the Rabble Master?
Feels like it. I mean, considering that Chaz Hinkle's top decking here, it's not like he has some other grand scheme lined up.
Did he mulligan? Why is he so far behind?
It does feel like he's further behind than he should be, doesn't it?
I mean, they're both on 4 lands. It's not like, well, it's 4 lands to 5 lands. He's drawn an extra land, but still. It seems so far behind, and none of these trades have seemed, I mean, maybe it's just the power of Stoke the Flames with Convoke. Like, Luis was up tempo.
Maybe so.
But Chaz is out of cards. It's not like he's getting tempoed. Yeah, Anafonsa clearly wants to step in front of Brimaz. But
in the meantime, Chaz is going to take a huge hit here. Okay, a second copy of Soren Solemn Visitor.
yeah,
He's gonna
up.
plus
Now he
it.
can race.
Now he can absolutely race. This is an attack for 9 with lifelink.
Yes.
So he's going to jump back up to 19. That was a nice draw. Good
Yes.
sequence there for Chaz Hinkle. Top decking finds Anafenza into Soren. And it looks like, I mean, can he still race? Like, anytime I see 2
Unchecked Rabble Masters.
Rabble Masters, I'm just like, that's got to be 50, right? Like, that's my default.
Huh.
I mean, how much is it going to be here? They trigger each other too, right?
Yeah.
So there's going to be 5 Goblin tokens attacking plus 2 themselves. Look at this hit.
Is that 19? What am I missing? Can't he kill Chaz? Isn't that 19? The Rabble Masters are both, what, 7s or 8s?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're 8s.
So 16, that's 21. He's just hoping to distract him with Soren. He almost works, too. Luis pointed at the Soren.
And then he just killed him. So
It might actually,
interestingly,
I mean, it's a totally reasonable line because you saw Chaz was so confident. We're like, wait, can he really attack there? And Luis tapped the Soren
I know.
and then like took it back.
Yeah.
He was like, wait a minute, let me do some math. No, I'm not going to attack
but
Soren.
come on, you can't take that chance if you're Chaz that he's just going to miss that.
Chaz's crackback is lethal. Chaz wins next turn if he falls for it. How's he going to win that game? If you play defense, how on earth are you winning that game if you play defense?
You block.
I block, what, 1 Rabble Master?
You
I
block
lose-
both Rabble Masters. You gain
So now I have no creatures.
5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, you
You
do
gain
have
the same life. You gain the same life you gain by attacking.
Well, you
The life
gain 1 less, but
You gain 1 less because
Yeah.
you didn't get an Anafenza counter,
Yeah.
right? So
So
you're
you gain
down a
8.
life. You keep fine. Let's say I get to block and trade with both Rabble Masters.
Uh-huh.
Now the board is
like
6
5
tokens.
tokens.
And I'm empty-handed.
Uh-huh.
And you still have cards in your hand, and you're up 6/1/1s.
Look, I'm not saying it's a great spot, but I like it better than just giving my opponent the onboard kill.
I'm not
where
convinced of that.
Assuming that they read
What are-
their
what are-
magic cards.
What are Chaz's odds of winning if he plays defense? 6 tokens and whatever
Well,
cards
let's
Luis
think.
had left.
So what are some
He's
of the-
winning that game? What, 10%, 20%?
Probably
maybe?
probably 20%.
I don't
what
think
are-
it's 20. I think it might
So
be
he
single
would
digits.
be at 18 life, facing down 5 1/1s and with 2 or 3 unknown cards in Luis's hand.
Sure. You think
He
those
gets
odds
to
are
draw
20?
a card. I mean, there's obviously cards we can come up with that are. Yeah, I mean, any creature stabilizes that board.
Versus 5/1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if he plays a 2/2, it's not like Luis can just be like attack with everything, take 4. I mean, that does work out eventually, but it can go awry for him pretty quickly.
I'm just saying the odds of Luis missing the onboard kill.
Which he almost did.
He almost did, right. I think those odds are at least 10, 20%. They're at least 10. Like maybe they're fully, if they're 20%, then Chaz's play is great. Also,
I think I have him. I think I have it at like 5 or
that he's going to
4
miss
or
that?
2. Yeah.
He almost did it. We saw him
I
tap
know, but I
Soren.
think that even then, most people are like, wait a minute. Like I said, I mean, from the booth, when I see a whole bunch of tokens, I'm like, it's 50. That's the number. You can do 50 damage if you have to, you know. And I mean, obviously, I'm being facetious, but like, it's a ton, right?
I love it. I love that line.
All right.
I mean, look,
Fair enough.
we could argue about the percentages, but Chaz found an awesome line of play. in
So
my opinion.
here's where I come down on the percentages. I have it at 17% chance he wins if he double blocks, and then he just gets to draw out of
Top
it.
decking versus 5 tokens and a couple
which
cards.
is, I'm being a little generous.
I think
but
I'll take the under.
And percent chance that his opponent doesn't notice, I have it 4. I think 4 out of 100 times, maybe 3.
I have the under and the over.
Okay, so now we found our.
It's close.
There's our gap. We know why we disagree now.
Super interesting resolution today.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. All right, so let's take a quick look in on what Matt Costa is up to against Jeremy Ross Latour. Well, not winning. Costa's already down a game. This is the beginning of game 2.
Yep.
And Jeremy's already won 1. Does he have? Oh, he does have the
Carry
carry.
it. That's the start.
Not a good start if you're in Matt Costa's seat, and it's looking pretty good for Jeremy. He does need the rest of the tools
This
to win.
matchup is just bad for Matt, right?
It's got to be terrible.
DC
for
Whip
him.
is like slow, grindy. I'm over the top of everybody, and Jeremy Ross Latour is like, have fun.
Yeah.
You can have
Knock yourself out.
do your worst in 7-8 turns. I guarantee I'm going to set up faster than you can.
Yeah, now the interesting part comes in like this situation right now. Jeremy, assuming that he has another non-green mana source, which he might not have, he actually has the Jeskai Ascendancy
Yeah,
in
I
his
see it
hand.
too.
I just wonder if you run it out there right away, right?
Versus, let's see, what's he worried about?
Something like a Reclamation Sage is what I was thinking.
So Matt's-
Whoa, there's one in his yard already in Costa's yard. Huh.
Yeah, he's got 2 Negate, 2 Disdainful Stroke, 2 Thoughtseize on the board. He does not have access to Erase.
No erases.
Well, no white mana anyway. It's Sultai, right? It's
Does he have
not
Sultai Charm?
1.
1 in the main.
Thoughtseize is 2 main, 2 in the board, 1 Reclamation Sage in the main.
I mean, is there an argument to be made from Jeremy's standpoint to, try to go off in one turn, or do you just run
If you
him out
can.
there? I mean, because he's just not, like, look at the pressure he's under now.
Right.
Not a lot. All right. And it looks like-
Right. Yeah, and then there's no reason you have to risk your ascent. I mean, honestly, though, there's 4 Thoughtseizes in Matt's list at this point.
Oh, there is.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 main, 2 in the board, so Thoughtseize is actually the scariest card, I think.
Right, okay.
There's
So
only
you-
one
so you do
Reclamation
just run it
Sage,
out.
there's 1 Sultai Charm. Yeah, he's going to lose it to Thoughtseize.
Interesting. Now, I see a dig through time sitting there as well. So it looks like he's a Helix and an Ascendancy away from going off here.
Pretty much.
So I guess plan A is to have that dig through time find a Helix and an Ascendancy,
It's a good plan.
then go off.
He basically had a 1-turn window where he could have played Ascendancy, right? He could have played it instead of that,
Yeah,
the Mana Critter.
yeah. So Murderous Cut is going to take down
the Mystic.
Royal Claw Mystic. Matt Costa's
Take
doing the
one.
best job he can to mitigate the board state from Jeremy, but this is the real problem here, right? Is that while he did a good job doing that, he has no pressure.
Right. Like, yeah.
Jeremy's like, okay,
fine. You
I
knocked
get-
out of my hand. I'll
Yeah.
go see. Yeah. There's the Ascendancy.
Maybe he
I'm
should
back.
have. I think he was going to play that that dig too,
He would have found them both.
and he would have found them
I don't
both.
think he had
But
enough fuel in the
he
graveyard.
might be able to
yet.
do it anyway. Well, I was thinking if he flips up the Mystic,
Sure.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, he had 2 or 3
Does he
cards.
want
so
land? He's tanking on whether or not to put the. Yeah, you put the land on the bottom there, I think.
Was a Mana Confluence.
Yeah, it's like the worst land in your deck.
Yeah. All right. Well, he's gonna hang on a little longer as he doesn't have the mana to cast. Oh, Thoughtseize off the top.
Funny.
Wow. So Matt's gonna get to nab another copy. It's there.
Still, he can't even attack now. Ross Latour can not only block, he can fire breathe.
He can. The scariest plant ever. So take that thing away. So that's 2 of them down.
Yeah.
Now, if you get all of them,
Oh, yeah, that's the problem.
not a great backup plan for the Jeskai Ascendancy combo deck.
He's got dig mana, right, for end step?
Yes. blue, blue.
Yeah, it's the DC. Starts to add up.
Okay, so here's a little bit of pressure.
Swing and a miss.
Did he brick? Yuck.
No, he didn't. Sorry, the black card was.
Okay,
first card.
let's jump back over to our main match. That one's going to go very, very quickly. We want to keep an eye on Chaz Hinkle versus Salvato here, as Luis Salvato took down the first game with a pair of Goblin Rabble Masters into an opponent on 19 life, no problem. And Seeker of the Way is a turn 2 play for Salvato. We'll note here that Chaz Hinkle did not have one.
Right.
You know, no lion.
No, good point. That is certainly Abzan Aggro is. You play that deck because you want to get ahead of your opponent. You want to start playing.
And he's on the
Death
play.
Dealers, Fleece Mains, Heirs.
So I would expect
Warden
some.
of the First Tree.
Does he have one?
He has one.
Okay, trying it out.
That's how I read it.
So I'd expect some fireworks. Ooh, nothing? He must have something like a I don't know, Hero's Downfall or something. Unless he's boarded his deck into be a significantly different one, this could get ugly. If Chaz
seriously.
kept a hand that did nothing on the first 3 turns, Luis Salvato's like, check this out, 2-drop into 3-drop. And the pressure's going to mount very quickly here on Chaz Hinkle, our number 1 seed. And he looks like we've got murderous cuts.
for Brimaz, yeah.
So Brimaz falls. All right, so he did have a play on turn 3. No problem.
Still down tempo for sure.
Absolutely.
A couple lands in hand. Is that a Wingmate Rock hanging out?
Yep.
Really needs.
And this is a Rhino.
Something to attack.
Okay, so
all right.
he's going with
Rhino
the
is
one.
here.
The
Everything's
one,
fine.
Yeah, the 1-step slower plan here for Chaz Hinkle. And he's going to hold his breath here because if this Siege Rhino survives, not only is he going to not take any damage this
We're
turn.
going to see Valorous Stance. Siege Rhino, there it is. Valorous Stance.
Wow.
Siege Rhino is a little more fragile than it was 3 days ago.
Valorous Stance has been doing great work here. That's a card I'm going to have my eye on for sure.
Yeah, both players have main deck Valorous Stance in this matchup.
Really?
Both have 2, but yeah, they both have exactly 2 in the main.
Speaking of 2, there's 2 Seeker of the Way here. And Chaz Hinkle draws a Fleece Main line for the turn, but his Wingmate Rock just looks so much worse here. Ooh, I know what's happening here. Drown in Sorrow. Ugh.
Oh.
Well,
Game on.
got that tempo back.
Yes, sir.
Puts a card on the bottom and even gets to play Fleece Main this turn. So a great turn for Chaz Hinkle.
Definitely.
Completely turning things around.
Yeah, Luis needs to kill Fleece Main right now.
Pretty much immediately. He doesn't have the answer for it. And he's completely tapped out here.
Attack.
And there it is, Wingmate Rock. So the door opened just a little and Chaz Hinkle just slammed it down.
Stormed right through.
Wow. And now Luis Salvato's in a position where even if he can kill the Fleece Main Lion, I don't think Chaz cares that much. And if he can't, he's going to be facing down a monstrous Fleece Main Lion and double rock here. This is not looking good for Luis Salvato. Both players are at 15, but not all created equal. Oh, how about we race? So what we have here is almost a 2-turn clock. He's a burn spell away from it.
Well, but the Wingmate gains life on the crackback.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So it would have been a 2-turn clock.
Right, it's 16. Which I'm not, I don't know.
This is interesting.
Chaz showed a tendency to like to race last game.
Yeah, this is
Remember, he
bold.
attacked with a 2-2 rather than leave it back to block Rabble Master, so.
Yes.
He is not afraid of a super close race.
Chaz Hinkle has fallen.
We're almost in monstrous range for Storm
7.
Breath too, right?
Yes, we're 1 mana away.
I mean, Luis has one card in his hand. I don't know what it is. Chaz obviously doesn't know what it is. I don't like Chad's place in this race. Wow, tough spot.
This has been a super swinging
I mean, it's not like
game.
he could block Stormbreath. He could have blocked and traded with the Ash Cloud Phoenix, is what the other line that he had, I guess.
That's right.
Which is not a great trade.
This puts him back up to 9, meaning that just the creatures alone aren't lethal from Luis Salvatto.
Right, but if he's leaving that 3/4 back, why didn't he? He could have blocked last turn, right?
Yes. Yeah, that is a play that you see sometimes. Usually it's a mistake, right? If you neither
right. If
attack
you choose,
nor
if you
block.
neither attack nor block, I mean, especially if you're like, I think he left it here because he must be planning to block. Why didn't he just block last turn?
Right.
Does the fear of Chaz's ability to block stop Luis from attacking? I mean, that's the place where it might make sense. And yeah, Luis doesn't attack because it wouldn't be lethal, and the crackback would.
And the crackback would, so now Stormbreath Dragon sitting back on defense. Both players at 9, and we've got a real nail-biter here in Game 2 of the quarterfinals. Chaz Hinkle can start Monster Scene Fleece main lines, but the...
Yeah, Luis can start Monster Scene Stormbreath.
This is interesting.
Yes.
It's going to be a couple of turns here, but basically the way it plays out is Stormbreath has to block a Fleece main if it goes monstrous, and then the Phoenixes have to start trading for Wingmate rocks. And then it gets interesting because if he wants to bring back the Phoenixes down the line, the life totals become super important. If Chaz Hinkle attacks with the Fleece mains, then Luis can put him in an awkward spot where one of them is either going to get eaten by the Stormbreath or traded for with a Phoenix. He can't save both.
Chaz so wants to attack.
He's itching for it and doing the math right now.
Yeah, if he attacks with the main body Wingmate, he gets some life out of this too.
It's true.
There's no way he gains enough life, though.
No way.
I guess if he leaves the token back? All right.
Oh, that's just awkward. Yeah, so he now is forced to either lose one or monstrous just to keep the other one
you
alive.
monstrous the one. Yeah, I think that's what he was expecting there. He wanted to get the Ash Cloud down out of the sky.
He wanted to do that?
The block is pretty straightforward, so he must have?
Yeah, he knew it was going to happen.
I mean, he could say go, monsters 1 Fleece main,
Yeah, that's
end
kind of
step,
what I was thinking.
then attack with 2 that can both be indestructible.
Like, I don't know if giving up my Fleece main entirely just to turn the Ash Cloud Phoenix face down is worth the trade there.
Again, though, maybe Chaz is playing for his opponent to make a mistake.
Could be.
Luis hasn't made one yet that we've seen.
And he's attacking.
Yeah, Pro White Stormbreath coming in.
He does not monstrous, so what is he representing? Just turning that Phoenix face up again? He's got mana for that. It costs 6. He's also got 1 unknown card in his hand. He's at 9. Maybe he just figures, I mean, I guess he does just win if nothing changes here.
Yeah, Stormbreath's lethal next turn. With
It's
the monstrous.
lethal next turn, and so Chaz is going to have to attack, and he can't get in for lethal himself. There's 3 back up to 8. Block, block. And
Preserving his mana for the monstrous on Stormbreath.
oh, it's another Wingmate rock?
Jeez.
Wow. No, it's
Hushwing Griff,
Hushwing
no
Griff to
triggers for
stop the
you.
trigger.
And Glare of Heresy.
And Glare of Heresy to kill it. And that means that
did
Chaz
not have
is
the mana for
hellbent now. He has
Monstrous.
no more cards in his hand.
They both are.
Yeah, and so the Storm Breath isn't going to get to do extra damage.
Storm
and
Breath
it's
can get through for
one...
7.
Oh, jeez, Luis
Stoke the
Salvato
Flames
rips
off the top.
Stoke. They're both
7
looking
not
at
good
it.
enough, but 8 is.
Chaz has to shake his head. Wow,
Crazy
that was a
game.
real slugfest. That was fun. And you get this kind of commiseration usually after a game of, if you didn't draw this, if I didn't do this, I thought you had that.
Yep. Yeah, there's no win there for Luis, right? Without the top deck?
Not that turn.
Right, but doesn't Chaz kill him on the next turn?
I don't know.
Chaz is up to 4 creatures, all of which are hard to deal with.
Yes, true.
Yeah, no. Luis Salvato, top deck for the win.
Got right in there. So Luis Salvato from Argentina is our semifinalist on the
Chaz
left side
Hinkle's
of the
run
bracket.
ends.
And Chaz Hinkle, who really kind of dominated this tournament all weekend,
This is the first round where he's not tied for first anymore.
gets knocked out. Yeah, semifinalist on the other side, Oscar Christensen
Aha!
from Denmark is in with Red Green Monsters over Kamui K.
So Abzan Aggro 0-2 so far.
Yes, we've got one live in the lower left there. And then on the bottom, Jeremy Ross Latour. Seems like a bad matchup for Matt Costa.
It really does.
And
Just
it looks
not
like
applying
that played
pressure
out
fast
that
enough.
way. Yeah, and
I mean, you can knock
Jeremy's in.
You can knock an Ascendancy out of their hand with a Thoughtseize, but if you're not following up with enough damage, they're just going to go find another one.
They're going to find another one.
Or a third one in the case of game 2.
Now, looking at that next matchup, though, Red Green Monsters, that one can put some heat on you. That is not going to fuss around with graveyard stuff as much. It's going to...
Yeah, it's actually a fast version of the Monsters deck, too. Christensen's got Air of the Wilds, Rabblemaster, Boon Satyr,
Oh, yeah.
Ash Cloud, Storm Breath, Rattleclaw Mystic, 2 Yasovas.
Oh, this is definitely not what Jeremy wants to face. He just doesn't want the clock.
You know what else he's got in his sideboard, does Oscar Christensen?
What's that?
3 copies of Back to Nature.
Back to Nature? I
Back
thought
to
you were going
Nature.
to say Destructive Revelry.
Back to Nature.
Back to Nature. Oh, that is mean.
I mean, in this field, like, he's playing like a Constellation deck on the other side of the field. We saw people playing the Green Siege to fuel Eidolon of Blossoms shenanigans.
Totally.
Yeah, he does not play any enchantments. No Courser.
No coursers.
Just beat down. Yeah, Mystics. No Caryatid, no Courser. He's like, his green is Mystic, Air, Boon Satyr, Yasova, Rattleclaw Mystic.
All right, looks like we're going to jump in on our last quarterfinal match here.
What game is this?
Unclear.
Game 2?
Graphics are incoming here. It's game 2.
All right, so this matchup is Gautier Lamb and Dominic Prochek. Is that right?
So we've got
Yeah, I believe that's... Yeah, Dominic's on
Dominic
the left with
Prochek
the
on the
Constellation
left
deck.
with Black-Green Constellation.
Yeah, he's a couple of Nykthos, 4 Eidolons, 3 Whips, a couple of Pharicas, Doomwake Giant, etc. So, I mean, the Black-Green Whip, essentially. No blue, no Sidisi. And
Back to
speak
nature.
of Back to Nature, Gautier Lamb has them as well. That
Back
card
to the
seems
Stone Age.
2 in his sideboard.
Wow.
That is a powerful sideboard card. Does not stop Dominic from hard casting a Hornet Queen, though.
Right, he knew that was on top of the library. And there it comes, Hornet Queen. One of the most powerful spells in Standard. It is a spell that gets a lot of respect based on the card choices from other players, and it's going to be
Yeah,
a
Gautier's
real pain
sideboarding,
from Gautier.
sideboarding 3 Drown in Sorrow for exactly that card.
This is his game too, so he could have it.
Oh, I assume. You don't, I mean, that card is in the sideboard to clean up a Hornet Queen.
I mean, in his hand. Yeah, I'm sure he brought it in. He's at 18 life, but that's going to go away in 3 short turns here if he doesn't find some way to interact with that thing. It's a speed bump. Speed bump Soren.
Not the best Hornet Queen answer in the history of Magic.
Not even close.
This is where you start trying to figure out, can I throw 5 cards at that? It's like, all right, here's 1 card. I will deal with a wasp. I hope. Yeah, I mean, it could also be, yeah. You send 3 at Soren. 2 at your head. What are you going to do with that 2/2 flyer?
I think Dominic is rooting for the Hornet Queen to die in case he finds another copy of Whip. Yeah, it looks like the damage was already done here before we showed up. Dominic Prochek won game 1, and look at his hand. He's on like 7 cards. I think Lamb has 1. And as the Abzan Aggro player, it's just not a whole lot he can really hope for to get out of this. There's a carry added to follow up. So this turn hasn't exactly been a blockbuster turn for Dominic Prochek yet. He put out a grand total of 1 power that turn.
Killed a Soren.
Yes, the turn was productive. But when I look at my opponent that has now 8 mana available and 5, 6, 7 cards in hand, and that's what they do, I'm definitely breathing a sigh of relief. Lamb wants to take a look at the graveyard and see what's possible from Prochek.
Gautier Lamb's version of the Abzan aggro deck, similar to the one we saw previously, and then it's got a couple Valorous stances baked in.
Okay, Rakshasa Death Dealer, that resolves. Pair of Rakshasa Death Dealers pass the turn back.
Hellbent. No cards in hand.
Can he start chewing through Hornets with these? I mean, his opponent's at 27. It just feels like, you know, the second Death Dealer a lot worse than the first.
How's he going to get...
How do you get through this? Like, you attack, the
Whatever,
heat
you're
blocks,
losing the
you
race.
regenerate, yeah, and you just end up dying.
You're not going to get to regenerate because the wasps are going to be hitting you in the head.
Exactly. There's no...
I think Dominic just turns him sideways and says 3 attacks. I got you.
I think so, too.
Nine mana for Dominic Prochek and a grip.
Yeah. Yeah, this is not looking great here for Lamb. Remember, he's already down a game as well.
Yep.
And there's the whip, just in case there was any semblance of a race. That has now gone out the door as well. And here comes Doomwake Giant. And
Shrink your Death Dealer. So you have another enchantment to follow up
it
with?
looks like it.
1, 2, 3
Yep.
for Courser.
So that's going to shrink both of them. He can pump 1. He does have an Urborg over there. That's going to keep one of them at the 2/2 price
Great.
range. All right, that
It blocks
4,
the
5,
Doomwake.
6, 7, 8. Yeah, I guess he just throws it in front.
I think. I have no idea how Gautier can come back here.
I don't think he can.
I mean, step 1 is what?
Too
Top
much
deck another
value.
back to nature? Kill the whip, kill the Courser. You still got the Hornets.
He still has the Hornets to deal with.
Drown in Sorrow?
Drown in Sorrow. He can't do exactly what he wants with that. Yeah, this is just kind of a beating. Dominic Prochek able to put himself in a great spot with Black-Green Constellation here against the Abzan Aggro deck and position himself for a semifinal appearance here.
Yeah, it looks that way.
Dominic's from the Czech Republic and Gautier's from Australia. Made the long trip out here to the Pacific Northwest to play in the Super Sunday Series. And even garnered himself a top 8, but it looks like the dream is ending here as he's at 2 life and facing down many lethal attackers. There's even a murderous cut just in case there was any hint of a victory here. He's got Abzan Charm, and that's not going to do it. Dominic Prochek is in to the semifinals. You can see who we've got now. Luis Salvato is going to have to play against Dominic. Dominic just made short work of the Abzan Aggro deck. Maybe he can do the same to the red-white aggro deck from Luis Salvato. And we got a much different matchup on the other side. Jeskai Ascendancy combo is going to go against what has got to be considered a much tougher matchup with Oscar Christensen and his red-green monsters deck. And in the quarters, it was Matt Costa with Sidisi Whip. And when we watched that match, it just looked like Matt's deck was way too slow to prevent Jeremy from assembling the combo, and he 2-0'd him to advance to the semis. The red-green monsters deck is not going to be so lenient with the clock, though.
Looks like we will not be keeping the Super Sunday Series trophy inside the United States. Americans went 0-3 in that quarterfinal.
What? Oh, wow.
Yeah. We'll have an
So
international
we've
winner.
got Denmark, Canada, Czech Republic,
And Argentina.
Argentina.
Still 3 continents.
That's impressive.
3 continents, no Americans. Pretty cool tournament.
That's sweet. All right, so what's the plan here, Mr. Miller?
Well, we have a semifinal shuffling up.
So Oscar and Jeremy have been shuffling up while we were watching that quarter.
Great.
Should not be long then.
Okay, so they're shuffling up now. That's fantastic. Yeah, I wasn't sure if
So we'll take 5.
we'll take a 5-minute break. Okay, yeah, we'll be back in 5 minutes for the semifinals.